I'm going to do a few things, and then I will read you my book. So, enjoy.
Awesome.
So I would like to thank Kay and the Quest Bookshop for hosting me today. It's really great. Thank you. I'd like to...
Where's your list?
Yeah. I would... That's okay. I would... 10 years old.
Are you 10?
No, I wrote the book when I was 10. But I just turned 11 years old, and I am from the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. I love bears very much. Do it to educate people, not to feed the bears and how to help keep them safe. But I also wrote Oh No, Gertrude because, and how I wrote Oh No, Gertrude is we met up with the photographer, Rodney Kamoff, who was a camp host and volunteer ranger in Shenandoah National Park. And we met up with him, and he showed us the pictures he had of Gertrude and her story. And then we thought, this is such a great story that Mama said, this needs to be a children's book. And she wanted to write the book, and we thought our family was going to write the book. And then one day while Mama and Papa were having a meeting, I was like, what can I do? And Mama said, well, why don't you write the first draft of the book? In an hour and a half, I had created it all and had the first draft totally complete. And Mama and Papa said, this is such a good book, it has to be yours. So since then, we edited it, and it's close to the original, with just some changes. And it's my book.
Yeah.
Now I would like to tell you a few bear stories, two bear stories of mine. One was from this year, and one was from 2 years ago, which was my first bear encounter. I'll start with the one from 2 years ago. When I and Papa were hiking in Shenandoah National Park, we were on a short trail hike, and we heard something off to the right. And at the base of the tree was my first ever big black bear. And we were like, wow, look at her. 10 seconds later, up the tree that she was up at the base of, up went two cubs. They went up, 2 trees over to the left. There goes up another bear, another cub. There was a mama with 3 cubs, just like Gertrude, but it wasn't Gertrude. There was a mama with 3 cubs, and the cubs were in the tree for about, the mother sent the cubs up the tree, and she didn't seem too concerned, but she was aware of our presence. And that's why she sent them up the tree, and she just stayed at the base of the tree, and we observed for about 5 to 10 minutes, would you say? And then we decided to give her space and leave, since she was a mother with cubs. And then that was my first bear encounter in July of 2008. And then through the summer and fall of that year, I met up with over 40 other bears, about 40 other bears in the park, and some in Glacier National Park, grizzlies. And then my love for bears just came from that, basically, and then it all evolved. And I had lots last year, including Gertrude and her 3 cubs. And then this year, we were hiking, it was the end of April, so not that long ago, and we were walking in the park, and we were looking for bears in an area that they had been reported that year. Wondering, do you think we can find it? And we came around a bend on the trail, and looked over, and good ways off, 40 yards maybe, there was a mother, there was a bear by herself, at the base of a tree. So we slowly approached, and we got to a fairly close distance, and we watched, but not too close, but a fairly close distance, and we watched her, and we had seen the lactated nipples, so we knew that she was a sow with hidden new cubs somewhere, but we didn't see the cubs. So every hour that went by, first 1 hour and then 2 hours, we were wondering, so where are the cubs? Where are the cubs?
And she was sleeping.
And she was sleeping at the base of one tree. She was very tired after the winter denning, and then she'd move a little, and then she'd go to sleep again, and then she'd move a little, and she went up a different tree than the one she was mainly lying under. She ate the little tree shoots on the tree, and she came back down, and she went over to that same one tree that she was lying under and fell asleep again. So we were thinking, maybe the cubs must be up in that tree in a hole somewhere, because we were thinking, this is strange behavior. She was defending that tree, and she just stayed at the base. Then finally, she decided, and a few times she'd go on the tree and just climb up a tiny bit, and then she'd come back down. So we were like, this is interesting behavior, something that we've never seen before. Then she finally, after one last good nap at the base of the tree, she went up the tree, and then she went in, she looked into a hole, went outside the hole, and fell asleep on a limb. And then she stayed there, and this was about the 6-hour mark. And then she woke up, and we had been with her for 6 hours, and then she finally went head first into the hole. So we were like, her cubs must be in there. And then we could hear them. When we were under the tree, we could hear the cubs nursing. We could hear. Oh, I forgot one important part.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's okay.
Go back. I forgot the most important part. So when she was napping on the limb, before she went into the hole, lots of naughty people were right under the tree. So this is the tree, and this is the trail. They're right here, looking up at the bear. And the bear is obviously very scared. She keeps waking up and going back to sleep.
They're making lots of noise.
Hey, look at the bear in the tree over there! And oh my God, look at the bear! We were way back off. And then it was like, oh my God, this is not good. They're scaring the bear. So Papa went over and basically,
Gave them a piece of my mind. This is inappropriate. The bear is frightened. You need to leave now. Yeah. And 50 people just turn their heads and run away.
Because it's okay to be close, but not too close.
Yeah, and not obnoxiously loud and disrespectful.
Right.
When it became spring, Gertrude and her 3 cubs emerged from the den, and the cubs got to see the world for the first time. And food was still scarce, so the cubs still highly depended on mother's milk. At this time, the cubs were frisky furballs of energy and weighed 4 to 8 pounds each, and the cubs were pros at tree climbing.
You're doing great.
And the cubs, did I miss it? Yeah. Gertrude depended on meat from deer and other dead animals that she came across. And the cubs would only have a couple of bites. As spring progressed, they would eat plants, grasses, bulbs, and other things. And if they were lucky, they would run into an anthill filled with tasty larvae just for them. Some naughty picnickers had left their food out on the picnic table, and they didn't clean it up before they went out on a hike. She thought that the chips and cookies and bread and all the other food was so delicious. Although some people might think that it was good that Gertrude got that food, it really was not. It was not good because if bears are fed or find unattended food out on the picnic tables like Gertrude did, then they will likely become so used to people that they will have to be relocated or killed. A fed bear is a dead bear. Once Gertrude finished eating the food at that picnic table, she saw that at the next picnic table over, there was food too, but there were also people at that picnic table. The people backed up because they were concerned about the approaching Mama Bear, so Gertrude got all that food too. The sad thing is that Gertrude kept repeating this behavior, so the Park Service named her a trouble bear. But Gertrude wasn't the naughty one. It was the people who went hiking without cleaning up their food that were naughty. One naughty person...
Page 20, Gertrude.
Gertrude became a habituated bear, which means that she was so used to people that it was a major problem. Then the Park Service had to start slingshotting and paintballing Gertrude, so to stun her and to deter her from being in the picnic grounds. As the ranger said, I am supposed to slingshot bears and deer who are hanging out in the wrong places, in the hope that the sting from the slingshot will make the animals not want to be in the picnic areas and campgrounds. Gertrude should just be eating natural foods and her cubs just playing and climbing trees while Gertrude looks for food, but no, they now have easy food, and not just easy food, but easy food from people. One naughty person has put a family of bears at risk. The Park Service is so concerned about Gertrude being habituated because people food is not healthy for bears at all. And if the people at the second picnic table didn't back up and give Gertrude what she wanted when she approached them, then Gertrude might attack the people and she would be blamed. Gertrude had done her things too many times and that they had to move her. Before Gertrude was moved, she decided to break into a garbage shed in the park, so that she and her cubs feasted on the most tasty garbage. The garbage was so yummy. She ate bags full of rotten banana peels, leftover pork barbecues, hamburgers, chili, and much more. The cubs loved the garbage as much as Gertrude did. They thought it was so tasty. Gertrude and her cubs were making a mess, so the Park Service needed to get Gertrude and her cubs to move out. So they shot a beanbag at her. The beanbag scared but didn't injure Gertrude, but it scared her so much that she ran away from the yummy tasting garbage. Then it became moving day, so the Park Service cooked a meal in the picnic area to attract Gertrude to a live trap that they had set. And Gertrude strolled into the picnic area and examined the trap, and she even read the sign. The Park Service put yummy-smelling jelly donuts in the trap to get Gertrude to go in, and the donuts smelled so good to Gertrude that she couldn't resist, even after reading the sign. So in she went. Once they had Gertrude trapped, they still had to get the cubs. But it was not easy to get the cubs because they wouldn't go into a live trap. So the Park Service shot tranquilizer darts at the cubs, which gave them some medicine to get them to go to sleep. So the Park Service could put them in a cage and move them. Before they moved Gertrude, they gave her some medicine to go to sleep so they could do an exam on her. They wanted to determine her age, how much she weighed, and to give her a yellow ear tag so they could identify her in her new home. Gertrude weighed 129 pounds and was 3 years old. Once they had finished Gertrude's exam, they put her back in the trap on the truck, and they transported her and her cubs to her new home, about 70 miles from where they had trapped her. Once they got to Gertrude's new home, the Rangers released Gertrude and her cubs, and the cubs took one last look before running away. Now Gertrude would have to go back to eating natural foods, but if she got into trouble again somewhere else in her new home, then the Park Service would have to trap her again and move her to the National Forest, which would be dangerous for her because it's a hunting area. The main things Gertrude and her cubs ate after being released were acorns and hickory nuts, because they ripen as it gets to be late. Sometimes the bears will gnaw the tree branches with their teeth to get to a large number of out-of-reach nuts. And their reward for their hard work is that they get to feast on all the nuts. The nuts are so yummy for the bears. And hopefully Gertrude will think of them as more yummy than people food. Did I miss a page there?
Nope.
Gertrude and her 3 cubs were spotted one last time when they were getting ready to den. So she stood up to take one last look before going off into the woods to sleep for the winter. And we can only hope that Gertrude will stay safe and never run into any more naughty people and never run into trouble again.